Hi everyone, Jessica here from Paper Ink Stamp and welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're using a new product to me. This is the Studio Light Say It with Flowers. I showed you this in a recent haul video and I'll try to link to the products that I use in today's video in the description box down below. So I needed to create a card for my Nan. It's her birthday in October and it's her 80th. So I wanted to create something really special and I thought this would be the perfect die set to use to have a go, but I wanted to create something really special, something that took me a little while to put together because obviously she is really special to me, so I wanted to really make a good effort with her card today. So I absolutely love this die set. I love how this card turned out. I'll be honest, it's kind of fiddly to use this die set only because you've got quite a few small bits together and then kind of working out for the first time how this goes together. They are labeled though, which is a good thing on the actual dies themselves. So you have the main die piece, which you can see that I'm cutting here from some green cardstock, and this is going to be the base. So basically you die cut this base first and then you add the layers on top of it, which is good because some of the stems and things are quite thin, so it just makes things a little easier. And then you've then got sort of the leaf details that I'm going to die cut in a lighter color, green, and then you've got the flower heads as well, and again those layer up. So you have, for example, like C1, C2 and C3, so it does tell you what you layer together. And then on the back of the packaging you do have some instructions which tells you where the bits go, so where the B dies go, where the A dies go, things like that. So even though it's fiddly because you've got quite small pieces, actually putting it together, I really enjoyed doing this. It's the first time I've ever used a layering die like this, and I did really enjoy using it. It just would have been nice if it was slightly bigger, but I do create 2 of these and that's what I put on my DL sized card. And it filled it really nicely. So I'm just zooming in here, just messing around with my camera a little bit so you can really see what I'm doing. So like I said, you have the big die, that is your base, and then you do glue all of your pieces onto this. So I've got the instruction packet just to the side as a little reference. And the first thing I'm going to do is the greenery. So I die cut this from green because you don't have any of the leaves pieces, all you have is the extra details, if that makes sense. So you're better off die cutting this in green and then starting from there. So what you could do as well is die cut all from white if you wanted to, and you could colour in the sections. That would look really lovely as well. So I'm using some Nuvo Deluxe glue. I've got it decanted in a Crafter's Companion fine tip glue bottle, which is perfect, like I said, because this is smaller. You don't want to have all of the glue kind of blobbing out everywhere. And you can see I'm just lining these pieces up, so it gives the flowers, the leaves, just that extra bit of detail. Again, a little bit of fiddly. It would be nice if it was a little bit bigger, but I think once you do it for the first time, you do kind of get used to where they are going. By the time I came to do the second one, it was definitely a lot easier. So the cardstock I'm using is by Craft Perfect. So I'm pretty sure this is grass green and pistachio, I believe it is, which worked nice for the actual flowers themselves. Again, I'm going to have to think about this off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure for the centers I used some mustard yellow. I think then for the second layer of the flowers I used fuchsia, and I want to say that is aubergine, which was the flower heads themselves. So the first layer, which you can see I'm taking out here, which was out of my darker cardstock, this is going to be the exact same shapes of what you've got on the green layer. Then you have the fuchsia pieces, which is the light pinks. They will layer up in the center, so give you that little center detail. Little details actually still part of the petals though. And then you have the yellow center pieces. So it was a little, so I die cut everything together just because I thought that would save that would be the best way to do this. But then when you have everything laid out, some of the pieces are quite easy to work out what goes together. But yeah, some of them I did kind of just guess a little bit. But I built the flower to begin with before then gluing it onto our base, and you can see that just fits perfectly on there. I love the color combination that I used here, but you know, you could have every flower be a different color. You could create some really nice shapes with these as well because they are on the smaller side. Let me just measure so you get an idea. So it's roughly about 4 inches tall. And then from sort of the widest points, it's sort of about 2 3/4 inches wide. So it is a good size, but you could create, like I've done here, put 2 together, and you wouldn't necessarily tell that is 2 together. To create this DL size, you could do you know, corner pieces if you wanted to with this. You know, you've got lots of options here due to the size of it, which I think is brilliant. So again, just going through, layering all these pieces up and kind of just working out where these pieces do go together. All in all, to create both of these flowers, I'm going to say it probably took me just over half an hour to create both of them. Again, the second one, it came together a lot quicker because I was able to have that reference of the one that I'd already put together. So you can build these up. I am thinking maybe this would be quite nice. So I did just do a video doing an all white card, so a monochromatic card. And I think that looked really nice. And I'm really curious to kind of explore that a little bit more and see what other products that we can use to create all white cards. And I'm thinking that maybe a layering die like this might be quite nice to put together, and just have it as a nice background, and then you can have just again a simple sentiment. So to build the rest of the card, I'm going to be using a couple of different DL nesting dies. I showed you in a recent haul video the new Filigree nesting dies by Creative Craft Products, and I've been kind of stocking up on my nesting dies recently because I think they're a really good base item to have in my stash, and they're perfect then for finishing off my cards. I've not really been buying a lot of product, I wouldn't say. Yeah, mainly just sort of stocking up on these dies. So on this card, I'm going to use the Filigree Edge DL size, and I'm going to die cut that from some buttermilk yellow cardstock. So going for a lighter card than what we've used on the center of the flowers. And again, I think it just creates such an elegant card. I think my Nan's are really going to love it. So I'm going to run that through the die cutter machine, and I'm going to work out what else I want to die cut with, and I'm going to use then the DL stitched nesting die as well, because this size here, let me just check, the width of it is 3 inches across, and that fits perfectly inside the centerpiece of the filigree one. So you can mix and match these together, and I think this is really nice because it adds such a lovely border to this, very feminine in some ways. So with a floral card, it's going to work perfectly with that, but it just adds that nice little bit of detailing and something a little bit different. For the background, I'm pretty sure it's the coconut white that I use because it's a more creamy kind of white, which is nice, again, perfect for this sort of design that I'm going for. And again, I'm going to run that through. I'm pretty sure that I used my big Gemini plates for die cutting the filigree border, only because it's a little bit more intricate, and I need kind of that bigger sized plate to be able to get it to go through and have all the pressure in the correct places. So like I said, this piece is going to, this die cut is going to fit perfectly in the center, and we can add this up on some foam, and again, it's just going to add that little bit of depth. And this was perfect because, you know, you could put these two flowers together and make it look like one long piece. So for the actual base itself, I'm just going to glue this down. So I'm using some Nuvo Deluxe glue here, and again, then using that Craft Perfect cardstock, you get that nice weaved pattern on there as well, which does again add something a little more to it. So now I'm going to add a couple of strips of foam tape. This is the Time for Tea Designs foam tape. This is the 25mm wide, and it's perfect. 2 strips of this on the back is absolutely perfect, and we can add that onto the card. Then for the florals, I'm just going to add some glue to the back of this. Again, I don't think I would ever pop this up on some foam tape because you've got some very small areas actually on here I think it would be quite fiddly. So definitely using the glue on here. I'm using my reverse tweezers just to hold that as well, so I can get all of the glue in those little fiddly places. And I'm just simply going to tuck this top one behind the bottom one. And again, you wouldn't really know that this wasn't supposed to be this length, which I think is fantastic. And then on to a sentiment. So again, I wanted to find a nice sentiment. So I picked out, this is one of the Colorado Craft Company birthday stamp sets. I can't remember what this one is called, but it had just a simple sentiment in here. At the time when I made the card, I didn't actually realize it was an 80th birthday. Otherwise, maybe I would have picked a sentiment that maybe reflected that a little bit more. I don't have any kind of numbers or anything like that necessarily, but maybe I might have picked up a different sentiment, really. But I do stamp one on the inside though, and it says, wishing your day is filled with lots and lots of smiles. So, you know, even just to make a special card, if it's for a big birthday, something like that, you don't always have to have, you know, the big numbers on there. Just the time and the effort that goes into creating a handmade card. You know, again, I wanted to make a really nice card for my nan, and yeah, I absolutely love how this one turned out. And I don't stamp sentiments often on the inside of the cards. I would like to do that a little bit more, but there were some nice little sentiments actually in this stamp set that worked perfectly for that. So I did stamp this sentiment onto some of that buttermilk yellow cardstock, the same as what we have for our matte and layer there. And I'm simply just going to fussy cut around this because it's got two different kinds of fonts, and the birthday is more script, more handwritten. I find that I don't always like cutting that down into a strip or a rectangle, whatever that might be, just because I think you end up with a lot of space left over. I do actually like to trim it down and sort of fussy cut it a little bit closer to the words. I think it looks a little bit nicer. So then I'm going to add some foam tape onto the back of this, again, just to help it prop out. And then the last thing we're going to do is add some Nuvo drops. These are the vintage dusty rose. I thought these went quite nicely. We're going to do a few different sizes all around the flowers, and that's going to finish this card. Like I said, I'll leave some links to the products that I've used in today's video in the description box down below for you to check out. I really love how this card turned out. Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like the video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so you don't miss out on any future videos. So that's going to be it for today. Thanks very much for watching, and happy crafting.